Into the mouth, over the gums, look out liver, here it comes. Hey everybody, it's me, Elijah Samuelson. Bad shot taker.
Lightweight.
That voice you hear right there, that handsome voice.
Handsome?
That's our good friend and my roommate, Garrett Turner, otherwise known in the streets as Gigas.
The hood. The hood of, you know, where we live.
Yeah. The neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real,
As you say.
really sketchy out there. You
Yeah,
know.
but Garrett's...
Couple guys driving by, but I flew my flag.
What kind of flag do you have?
It's green.
Ooh.
We talked about this. You know, Bloods have blue, red.
Red.
Makes sense.
Well,
Crips have blue.
you know, they say your blood is blue. Is that a myth, by the way? That
I believe it's
that's
a
a myth
myth,
that your
yeah.
blood is blue before it touches oxygen.
I
Yeah,
think that's like a very common myth.
Yep.
Yeah, but
whatever. Well, I'm here too. They're not just.
this guy,
I'm Spencer Cook. They're not.
Fuck this guy.
They're not replacing me today. But
I mean, I could not talk about Magic for more than like 20 minutes normally. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So Garrett does play Magic. He's not just a roommate. He's a Magic roommate, which means that you probably don't want him as your roommate.
A Magic roommate that just doesn't interact most of the time.
So he's famous around these parts for being the founding member of his own format of Magic. We call GEDH.
To be fair, I was inspired by a pioneer of the industry, Captain.
The Captain format, yeah.
I was inspired
yeah.
by Mitch.
Like Garrett was saying, you know, he saw Captain and was like, I can do better.
So most people could do better.
Most people could do better. That's
It's not very hard, to be fair.
But before we get into the episode, why don't we explain GEDH? Because you know, I think it's probably.
I think you need to know to understand like most of the things that Garrett's going to say.
Well, it took Captain a week or two before it was associated with problematic groups.
Yeah, problematic people. Yeah,
that was the intention straight out the gate with GEDH.
That's where Captain that's where GEDH exceeds where Captain failed.
Yeah. Captain failed because it took
too long.
And GEDH it works in reverse kind of.
Well,
so the more problematic you start out as, the less problematic you become.
The other big issue is he was like trying to make it not like he was like, oh, this is the new way we're gonna do things. It's like, no, I want to be regressive.
Yeah, and I think the idea of Captain was he said it was going to be pretty much Commander but with integrity, and you're just like straight up like there is no integrity to GEDH, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean the core principle immediately was every card that's not in play is banned, and I feel like that's a perfect. If a card is not on the table, it is currently banned.
That's true though, because it's not like
it's not playable.
It's not there. Like it's
like people want Wishboard in Commander.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not in play.
It's not in play.
So, it's banned. There's no Wishboard in GEDH. Never will be.
So if you want to try
until Wizards lets it be a thing.
Do we have an official GEDH ban list?
I just told you.
For deck building.
For deck building? Well, I mean, we do follow the core Commander ban list.
The core tenets of Sheldon Menery, my man.
Everyone's favorite Sheldon.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 human being. I mean, I assume he's a great guy. In fact.
Yeah.
Seems like
a friend of the show.
Friend of the
show.
Really? You've had him on?
Yeah. No, he's just a friend of the show.
Not yet.
Like you interacted with him on Twitter once?
Well,
you tweeted at him.
We look at him from a distance.
He's a friend of his follows our Twitter.
Oh, that's not you have a rules committee member or just like someone Sheldon plays a game or two?
A Minnesota public servant.
Oh, okay.
Politician.
Politician.
Yeah. Anthony Alonji.
Getting in with those super PACs?
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
is that how you got the funding for this show with the one snowball?
Oh, yeah, before moving on from GEDH 2, I just want to mention that Spencer and I are part of the GEDH advisory group, otherwise known as the GAG.
Yeah.
That's why I did the bit with the whiskey at the start of it to signal that.
The GAG.
Yeah.
Yikes. I didn't even know the GAG existed. You just like...
Well, that's the cool thing about GEDH is like you don't need to like say stuff like that. Like everyone just knows.
You just went against the founder of the format and just made an advisory group. That's crazy.
We advise the leaders. It's like
I've never had a proper meeting.
Well, it's because you haven't made any decrees yet.
You got me there.
But yeah, the GDH is just whenever we play with Garrett, pretty much, and sometimes even without him.
Yeah, it's just
honestly.
dumb.
Sometimes we'll bring.
It's a mindset.
Yeah,
really.
A mindset. Yeah,
like they say, casual is a mindset. GDH is a mindset.
Well, GEDH, you have to play with 7 out of 10s.
Garrett,
always.
It's not casual.
How would you say GEDH power level compares to, let's say, turbo casual?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have not watched that video in particular.
It's not a video. It's an article.
It's an article? You made an article?
It's an article by...
it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
By who?
By the one and only founder of the Shockbox, Sheikwave.
What the hell is this?
So it's a box that when you play Commander, when you like take a certain amount of damage, you're hooked up to the box, and she hits the box.
It's like in
and
Yu-Gi-Oh!
It electrocutes.
It's like in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, you're literally playing a shadow game.
But it's like a coin flip. Like when you take say you take 10 life, you have like a higher chance of, you have to like hit the button. You have a higher chance of getting electrocuted.
It's kind of like when in GEDH, if somebody gets knocked out before turn 5, I get to take out my pistol and actually shoot them in the head.
You have murdered a lot of our players.
Well, you gotta...
Slash friend. Well, X.
It is one of the biggest challenges that the format faces.
The biggest challenge.
The player base is...
the vigilante of the group, as we refer to you as.
Well,
You enact the gag, so...
Yeah.
The advisory group is judge, jury, and executioner. In a very literal sense.
So
not just amongst the ban list.
Aside from founding GEDH, we wanted to have Garrett on here because he's somewhat of a social media expert.
Well, also I was, around when you were discussing this episode, so
that's neither here nor there.
Loosely discussing the concept of we don't have an episode idea.
You're breaking the immersion.
The fourth wall. I'm breaking kayfabe. Sorry, guys.
They know that we talk about this stuff.
It's still real to me. Damn it!
Oh my god, he's going for another one.
Go ahead.
Okay, I gotta have a redemption story. I'll sip it this time.
A redemption story?
So, the idea of this podcast, we've been going a little soft this year so far. So I thought it would be fun since February has had quite a few big discourses that today should be the discourse special. Where we just do our thing of talking about Magic Twitter beefs and dramas or discussions. It doesn't have to all be dramatic. It can just be like, oh, these people are saying this thing. Oh, maybe I disagree a little bit. Maybe they had a point.
That's one thing that I particularly don't enjoy about... Well, it's kind of a love-hate thing, because I do enjoy the constant fighting and vitriol, but also, like, when someone says something on Twitter that you disagree with, you don't have to take it personally, right?
No, Twitter is an intense debate amongst enemies.
It's a fight to the death.
If you lose social clout.
So, Spencer...
Don't ever be wrong.
It's like
EDH takes his...
When I was looking at the some of the threads for these discussions we're going to talk about, I saw somebody in one of the threads reply to somebody.
Shot.
Oh, he took the shot.
I guess, yeah.
You guys don't have to do it at the same time.
This motherfucker won't clink me.
I didn't mean to interrupt the... I didn't mean to interrupt the trail of the podcast.
Anyways.
What's that? It's like Listerine.
Yeah, I love Listerine. It's my favorite.
I love doing shots of Listerine. Sponsor of the podcast,
What's
actually.
the alcohol level of Listerine?
Oh, it's like 60, something like that.
Jesus Christ, don't do that.
Well, the thing about, like, mouthwashes is that they have, like, things that make you throw up. Whereas alcohol just makes you throw up as well. So
and crash your car.
But I saw somebody...
That's for after the podcast.
on one of these threads, and on Twitter you see people's profile pictures and you just, like, associate that with the person, right?
Yeah.
So I saw somebody who had the same profile image, as us, the Indestructible Aura.
Yeah, wait,
and I was like, oh my god, Spencer, what did you do? Like, I felt my life flash before my eyes. Because I was thinking, like, me. I was like, why did you respond to this? Like, that's how you lose. You cannot engage. And it was, like, something kind of controversial, too. Like, it would seem like kind of like right-wingy or, like...
Yeah, a little bit.
Not very politically correct, and I was like, oh my fucking god, you've ruined us, Spencer.
You've ruined our couple hundred view podcast.
On closer inspection, it was not our Twitter account, so...
in the clear for now.
Dodged the bullet. Yeah, so far so good.
It was someone impersonating. You should...
sue them.
You should sue them, and you should get the blue check mark. That's the whole point of that. And also, the blue check mark lets you be a little bit stupider whenever you have a take. As some might...
That's true.
We should sue them, though, because they...
They're ruining
their
your brand
profile
image.
picture. I drew that.
Yeah, you drew that. You're the artist for that.
I made that entire thing myself.
You know that
if you check that card art, it does say Elijah Samuelson.
I made this. You made this? I made this.
I made this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that's a classic.
That's a classic.
For all the youngins in the audience,
the meme connoisseurs.
Maybe just Google some memes.
Oh my god, I love fucking memes, dude.
You know who made that meme? Me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know how, like, sometimes we, at the end of our episodes, we'll go over Twitter drama and stuff like that? Today,
that's all it is today.
That's the episode.
That's the whole concept.
So so the thing is, this year, we've been exceedingly nice. We've turned a new leaf. We've been positive. Jolly, positive people. And that's not changing now, but it's made us grow impatient and jaded. So now we can't even put effort into making a proper show notes.
Well, February was just such a hot news month that we didn't have the time to talk about all these things at like the end of an episode.
Yeah,
I mean, like, too much.
Today has been a pretty terrible day. First,
pretty big day. First
Ukraine, and then Russia got fired. That's, oh my god,
big crossover between
Russia and Russia, right?
You got it.
Yeah,
he cracked the code. Mm-hmm. To be fair, this is exposing Spencer Cook a little bit. Works for the deep state, actually. This is how he knows. Do you have to censor that, or?
Yeah, that's gonna cut out for sure.
Oh, sorry about that one.
Anyway,
Russia.
What were you
Magic
saying?
the Gathering.
Magic cards. What were you saying? Twitter.
Well, there's just been a lot of news, a lot of discussion.
Let's get right into the news.
Thank you. I knew he was going to do it. I'm always saying, Spencer, you should be the new Keemstar.
Never in my life.
Why not?
Not even.
You kind of look like him.
I don't look like Keemstar.
If you
you've
grew
already
out
done
the
a face
beard,
reveal. I can't make that joke.
If you shaved your head and grew out the beard, you would have like a Keemstar vibe. I'm not saying you look like him, but you're like your hairstyle's a little like you could grow the beard.
Maybe.
You are a short king.
I'm not as fast as Keemstar.
Nobody can be that fast.
Nobody's that fast.
Wait, I'm not short king.
He's a short king, just like you.
I'm like 5'9".
Average height?
5'10", something like that.
We're both 5'9". Don't get ahead of yourself.
I don't know what the fuck my height is. I'm sorry. I wear high tops.
You wear heels?
Yeah. I wear wooden heels. Okay, Eli, can you bring us on track, please? Say something about Magic cards.
What's one of your discussion points?
We're gonna ease into this, okay?
Some baby topics. I mean, you guys like to talk about Magic a lot behind the scenes. You know, you're good friends. Talk about Magic. That's what binds you together.
Oh, can I?
And usually, I just do not discuss with these idiots. Yeah. I hate them personally.
So a little bit of a look behind the curtain is whenever Eli and I are getting together, hanging out to either it's just doing random shit, whether it's planning podcast topics or maybe it's recording the podcast, we spend a good several hours just shooting the shit about random, Twitter stuff.
Did you see this Twitter thing? Did you see that Twitter thing?
Maybe just Magic cards, not always Twitter,
Did you see this spoiler?
Yeah.
The 27 other spoilers?
And I enjoy those conversations, and I feel like in the moment it feels like they're pretty good conversations sometimes and like pretty entertaining. But then, we've never recorded one before, so we're going to probably listen back to this, and it'll be the worst thing ever. But
also, you decided to take 2 shots before you got into any meaningful topics.
That's going to help a lot because
it's just been
the thing about taking shots before doing something public is that you now have plausible deniability.
That's
for
true.
Anything you say, you can just blame it on the alcohol, like. Who did that song? Like him? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, everyone gets that reference. That's like a 2011, 2012 song.
Oh my god!
All the Zoomers in the audience get it.
Let's go. All right, Eli.
Shout out to the Zoomers.
Bring us in.
So in our last episode, we talked about the recent banning announcement, where there was no changes, no rule changes, no cards banned or unbanned, and this got people talking. I think it was even in response to another tweet, like I don't know if we mentioned, but the Murph talking about how there should be more win condition cards that kind of just like straight up win you the game in Commander, because he's like, oh, it's boring, like always having to do Craterhoof Behemoth, Expropriate, the black one with the X cost in that I never played.
There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, those ones.
Where's your White Sun? Come on.
White Sun Zenith win con. Is that an instant?
That's a GEDH win condition.
I think it's a sorcery. It has to be a sorcery.
White Sun Zenith is an instant.
Let's go.
Oh, it is, yeah, because you can do stupid stuff with it. Yeah, never mind.
But this got
no one plays it. It's fine.
Member of the Commander Advisory Group, the CAG, not the GAG.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't let this guy,
Who?
gal, and/or other.
Rachel Weeks
okay.
was talking about the idea of unbanning biorhythm. Like, yes, what she said was, took yesterday to think and talk to a few groups about biorhythm and landed once again squarely on the fence. So there were other discussions about this around the time. I think this happened a little ways after the Murph tweet, like talking about win conditions, and that blew up for Murph.
Murph, yeah, like 1,000 likes or something.
So it must have resonated. And personally, what do you guys think about the idea of Wizards printing more cards that are just kind of like, I play like a 1-card win condition?
It doesn't say win the game, but it might as well.
Well,
like biorhythm.
Let's ask you, Garrett, first, because I don't want to taint your...
casual...
EDH, right?
I don't... Personally, my philosophy going into Commander a lot of the times is that this is going to be an over-the-top game, and I like seeing combos sometimes... So I'm not as big of a fan of like, oh, I just played Crater Proof Behemoth.
Yeah.
And I win. Cool. Maybe that's because of another member of our play group, Mr. Red.
Yeah.
Who likes to play a lot of over the top. I'm going to play 75 cards this turn. And I've just grown up playing Magic like that, basically.
So how do you feel about Wizards printing big, like, so like one of the things he was saying was a card like Expropriate,
yep,
or a card like Exsanguinate, which is black X,
or Torment of Hailfire.
It's like you spend 15 mana and your opponents each lose like 15 life or like 25 life or something, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Murph's argument was like, I want more cards like these because those effects kind of become a little bit boring because you see them a lot,
mm-hmm.
but I'm wondering if you think that if you're on Murph's side here where you'd want to have more cards like that, or if you're on the opposite side where you think that like having more of those effects isn't helpful. What do you think?
So, I don't know. It's because I know a lot of people are like, oh, there should be cards that are like 9 mana do the big thing, right?
Sure.
But it's...
So some people... I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Some people are very vehemently in the camp of they should make 9 mana, I win the game.
Yeah.
Like literally like that text.
Yeah, basically.
And I think this question boils down to, do you want that or not, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a fence sitter here for sure, because it's like, I don't want every deck to run 5 of those.
Sure.
But like, there are certainly Magic Commander games that get fucking long.
Games need to end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
there
that's
gets
the
to
big
a
argument.
There gets to a point where it's like, yeah, just play something that wins the game.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see that in like if we get to turn like a reasonable Commander deck can ramp pretty easily, You
don't want someone just to get to 9 mana and just end the game.
Yeah, don't get to turn 5 and then I can play my win con instantly, or my win card even, not even my win con, because that's
I think the thing that steers people away from these cards is that they either end up just being way too expensive, like Expropriate is crazy expensive,
like $30, something like that,
or like Murph was saying, like people get bored of doing it, so they don't play these cards. But I think if there were more of them, they would be more affordable. You'd be able to get, like, if they made newer versions or reprinted the older versions. Or if there were more of them, like, people would do it more often just because the variety. But
I don't know if I want that to happen more often, personally.
I don't think I want it to happen either, because it's just like a lot of these effects. One of the things people love about Magic is the interaction, and aside from like counter spells, you really don't have any play with a lot of these.
Yeah, I think I personally like when you combine a couple things, or you have some sort of win condition that's maybe like incremental, or some, I don't know, like with combat.
What's the 8 artifacts win the game? That one?
Oh,
that's an incremental one, like literally.
Yeah, mechanized production.
Yeah.
That was very hard to win with, by the way.
Yeah, you put that on the board and you
have to wait till your next turn if you get 8 of the same thing.
Those give you plenty of points of interaction, whereas like so this brings up the biorhythm thing, because people will say biorhythm, that's 8 mana. They're like, oh, that's so much mana already, and then also like, oh, each player's life total becomes the number of creatures they control. Well, if you got creatures, you're fine. It's like, well,
there's a decent chunk of decks that are just running 2 creatures. Maybe.
It's really like if you're the person who plays biorhythm and you just have one more creature than each opponent,
You kind of just win, right?
Yeah.
Or you can, I don't know, it's, even if you don't win, I don't think it's very fun just to put everyone to 1 life or whatever, or 5 life, right?
Yeah, and people like to, one of the things people dig in with Commander so much about is like, oh, like the color pie, like shouldn't do this or this. It's like, do you want green to have the best burn spell in Commander?
Well, it's not technically burn. It's
it's not.
You're setting life to a total. It's not. It's different. It's a fine color.
White actually kind of does have a burn spell. There's a 7 mana like white sorcery that makes target player's life total 20.
Yeah,
but it's kind of a cool card.
In Commander, it's kind of actually something interesting about the rules with that. If I'm wrong, yell at me. But I'm fairly certain that if you're like, let's say you're at like 1 life, and you cast a Biorhythm, and you have like 10 creatures. And then someone else has a thing that says players can't gain life. You stay at 1.
I believe that's correct.
Is it actually counted as life gain?
It's not. Yeah. Well, it's very strange.
Interesting.
Increasing your life, setting your life to a higher number counts as life gain.
We're at least reason. To preface this, if we are wrong, we're saying this because we've played Magic Online games where somebody had like a life exchanging card to try and switch their life total to a higher life. And our friend had out the Tibble Planeswalker that prevents life gain, and it didn't gain them any life.
Yeah. So does it not work? Does it work the opposite way? Like if you had a thing that said like
players can't lose life,
or no, player like whenever you lose life, take an extra damage or something. That must be a card. This is showing my ignorance.
I wonder if you set someone's life to a lower number, was that count as losing life? I'm not entirely sure actually. I'd have to look that up.
But I imagine if it counts as life gain, it must count as life loss.
Oh yeah, like for a wound reflection or something.
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I'd have to double check that.
That's interesting, but
the point really was that
no need to get into the pedantics of biorhythms, life gain or loss.
I mean, like just imagine like for something for me real quick, okay? Imagine like everyone's got like a couple creatures in play, right? Someone, maybe the person after me is playing like a flying commander, right, with like 3 power, and then I just like feel like I just play Biorhythm, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna play this, and you can't kill me, and then like you just play Biorhythm, and the guy. And you pass a turn, and the guy with the flying 3/3 attacks the guy who's at 3 life, and it's like, okay, I killed you, bro. Oh, wow, that was fun. I don't think it's very fun. That's all I'm saying.
I definitely agree that Biorhythm of all of the big spells is dumb, and I'm glad that it doesn't exist in the format.
So Rachel had a follow-up tweet and compared this card, Biorhythm, to cards like Primal Surge or Tooth and Nail.
Yeah.
You've seen these? Have you seen these, Garrett?
I've probably
Reed plays a deck with Primal Surge.
And I used to as well.
Or if your deck's entirely permanents other than Primal Surge, you just put your entire deck into play.
Yeah.
Like all of it.
And that wins you the game. Or like Tooth and Nail, if you have 2 combo creatures in your deck, it's just 9 mana, put your combo into play. But I think I feel like even those have more points of interaction.
I mean, yeah, okay, so with Tooth and Nail, obviously, like, you can interact with the creatures that come into play. For the most part, I guess there's some combination probably that are hard to interact with, right? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Primal Surge requires you to build your entire deck a certain way, so that's a little bit of a deterrent. I've played a Primal Surge deck, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, there's a cost to it.
Whereas, I mean, there is a cost to Biorhythm, but, like, it's not nearly as restrictive, right? You just have to kind of build your deck in a little bit of a certain way where you...
Yeah, it's like, do you have creatures?
Someone board wipes and you play your 1 mana dork and Biorhythm. Ha, you guys lose. Pepe laugh. Very cool.
Yeah, the restriction on the other ones is a slight restriction, even if it's not hugely meaningful, whereas Biorhythm could just go in any deck. Well, yeah. As long as you play a creature, which I feel like pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the way the rules committee evaluates stuff like that is they're thinking like, well, so assuming not like best case scenario, like an average case, could something like Primal Surge or Tooth and Nail be used in a quote like fair or fun way? Yes, they technically can. Whereas like Biorhythm, I don't feel like
would be very fun.
It would ever do anything aside from just like win you the game. So
yeah, I mean, I guess you'd be like Biorhythm. Everyone's life is 8. It's like okay.
Yeah, what if Biorhythm wasn't just set everyone to like exact creature number? What if it was more like
what if it was like creatures plus 5 or something?
Yeah, or like creatures times 3 or some dumb. Would you rather that?
Well, it's certainly be better, right?
Well, yeah, but like in the case of looping back around to like big card do big thing.
I don't know if I want that, honestly. Like let's say like Biorhythm set everyone's life to their creatures like let's say plus 5, right?
Yeah.
So worst case everyone goes to 5. I don't really think there should be an 8 mana card that puts everyone's life to 5. That seems kind of like...
Yeah, Commander's in a weird spot where people will say that like expensive spells should literally like do close to win the game, but at the same time be like, oh, games are going too fast because of fast mana. It's like, well, mana, I don't know. Just the way I know that people producing mana is very strong, but I think it's kind of cheap nowadays. It's like, it's like you can just do that.
I personally feel like cards shouldn't single-handedly alter the game in that big of a way without costing like 20 mana or something. So I don't know, like there's that X burn spell which technically could kill all the players, the ×5 one, Eli. I'm talking Crackled Power.
Yeah.
Which could, with enough mana can kill all 3 players, right? Sure, I guess that costs a lot of mana. But like, why would you want to have like your 7 mana spell or your 8 mana spell literally change the course of the game so much that like it affects every opponent and it like does something super huge, right? Like not just like a big effect, but like the whole game now like is sufficiently warped. Like if everyone's life becomes like, even if you're not doing crazy shit with biorhythm, like let's put everyone's life to 4, like it feels like it's kind of ruining the game to me, right? Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a grief card too if you're not trying to win with it too.
I think anyone who's played against the
it's like playing a Worldfire.
Yeah, anyone who's played the like one card completely alter the game cards, or like played against those, can probably attest
World,
to like
maybe?
how stressful that can be sometimes. Just thinking like, oh, this person has 8 mana right now. Is it gonna ruin the game? Do I have to like always hold up an answer?
And if I'm not blue, do I have an answer? No. Well,
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple cards. You know what I mean?
I would definitely agree. Like in terms of like Warp World or World Fire or like that kind of shit where it's
a little bit, not quite as much as Biorhythm, or Biorhythm's less that.
Yeah.
But
But like, it just feels dumb where it's like I guess I have to hold counter spell and that's my only interaction
forever, or just like risk that you decide to meme the game up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're mad about it being a grief card, knowing your history of Yu-Gi-Oh play.
My grief cards that I play are like grief over time. Okay, so like if you do like a Possibility Storm kind of thing, I don't mean like Possibility Storm like Teferi Lock where no one can play anything. I mean like Possibility Storm like just like on its own. Like you're not destroying the game. Like it can go away and the game goes back to normal. Like it's not permanently changing the game like to a state where like the game is over. I don't know if I'm really if I really like am that like married to this position that I'm talking about, but this is just how I'm feeling right now.
You're 2 shots in.
Yeah.
Fuck grief.
yeah.
I hate grief in the game.
Speaking of Possibility Storm
Sure.
and interaction,
that's for all the Yu-Gi-Oh boys.
what do
in
you
the
guys
crowd.
think about Drannith Magistrate?
That's the one where you can't cast your commander.
You guys want to dogpile the dogpiler?
The dog pile?
So Eli, why don't you give us the lore of this Twitter drama?
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm looking up cards because I'm a dummy.
You've seen the card, you just don't remember it.
Probably.
Eli's played it against you.
So
He would. This man loves doing white lockdown shit, and I hate him.
Give us the lore, Eli.
So, friend of the show,
Yeah,
Callahan from Playing with Power.
Mm-hmm.
He's the same age as us, so he's my friend.
colleague. Yeah,
Peer.
here.
Enemy of the show.
Well, no, that's only Mitch.
Ah.
Mitch is the enemy of the show.
I'm taking the position as the one-time guest. He's my enemy.
Okay.
So I'm going to be controversial.
So Cal had a pretty, people like to tweet about opinions. Cal's on Twitter a lot. Like, Cal, you need to take a break a little bit, buddy. But he said he was just talking about like some takes and cards he doesn't like. He says, I meme a lot about Dockside and Thoracle or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that Drannith is easily my least favorite EDH card in the last decade. That's just his opinion. Mm-hmm. Well, he's just saying.
He's just saying his thing.
Yeah.
But then,
the bad man.
No.
The night man cometh.
The Brits are coming.
no,
Pleasant Kenobi.
committed the sin.
Yeah, the cardinal Twitter sin of having a larger following and quote retweeting
His numbers
Callahan.
were bigger than this other guy, and he quote retweeted him.
Yeah.
Tantamount to harassment.
He might as well have shot his dog.
Yeah.
He tweeted out the most hateful thing that I've ever seen Pleasant Kenobi say. He said, Magistrate is a creature that encourages interaction. This is good. More of this.
What the fuck, Pleasant Kenobi? Holy shit.
Too far.
You're allowed to say that on Twitter?
So mostly what this turned into is, it's, like we said, it is kind of it can be a bad thing to, quote, retweet somebody if you have a large following, because then your followers will see the original tweet and then interact with that person, and that can be overwhelming.
Dogpiling can be bad. Like it is a bad thing. Like, technically, it's a bad thing.
I don't think he said anything that bad.
No, I'm saying that, like...
No, I know what you
quote
mean.
retweeting a smaller person and encouraging your followers to be dickheads to them is bad.
Yeah.
But quote retweeting someone just to, like, have a different opinion...
Normal.
Especially in, like... I mean...
adults talking to each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not big into the Magic Twitter scene, but at least they normally act like adults from what I've seen until...
Well... I'll let it slide.
And that's one of the things with this is
better or worse than, like, the political side of Twitter.
Sure.
If we haven't made this clear so far on the show, Spencer and I we don't care for Pleasant Kenobi that much. Just gonna say, not quite friend of the show.
Spencer has an ulterior motive. He hates British people.
I don't hate British people.
Spencer, you should see some.
It's a joke.
You should see some of the racism he has towards British people.
Well,
oh my goodness.
I can't help it.
We've got a long history with the Brits.
That is true. That's the most American thing Spencer's ever.
1776, guys. What can I say, right?
I agree. Spencer's not very patriotic, not very nationalistic.
Anytime
whatever
Spencer
you want to say.
Sees a teabag, he throws in the Red River.
Yeah, damn.
That's true.
But the one American trait he has is hatred of the British, and I can respect it because those people are weird.
Most of the, what rubs us the wrong way about Pleasant Kenobi, he's had a lot of interactions on Twitter or in other stuff where he just seems a little bit aggressive and a little bit
condescending.
Yeah, condescending. Like, he talks down to people, or he just like gets very aggressive very fast, and he's not very chill. Mm-hmm. If I could say that. But in this tweet, like, we were re-looking at this thing because I wanted to think about things we could talk about, and I was like, oh yeah, Callahan got bullied on Twitter, and then I went back to look at the original quote retweet, and it's like
the most tame shit possible.
It's like the most tame thing Pleasant Kenobi's ever said to somebody in a discourse.
Pleasant Kenobi's being a reasonable human being for one time,
just
basically.
Stating his opinions and disagreeing pretty much respectfully.
Yeah. So so that's the lore about the situation. For this side, I'm on Team Pleasant Kenobi in the sense of he's not being a bully. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But why don't we talk about the actual point of contention here about the Drannith Magistrate thing? Eli, I'm gonna ask you first because you play this card. What do you think about Drannith Magistrate?
Well, I've had to play a little bit less lately because some of our friends really hated it. And also I found...
Thomas.
So it does a lot of work. And this could be said for a lot of cards, and a lot of hate bears especially. But Drannith Magistrate really is the... or maybe you wouldn't do this, Spencer, but most people that I played it against really just do the thing where, like, as soon as it comes out, it could be literally like saving the game, and everyone just is like, that needs to die. Oh. I need to play my commander.
Sure, yeah, like, people will act like... So, like, Drannith Magistrate might stop a person from winning the game, but then the other opponent's like, I want to play my commander, I'm going to kill it.
So, mostly, like, I took it out of my Thalia deck one of the last times we played with our friend Thomas, and he has the Emoti, the Simic Cascade deck. It's really good against that deck.
Yeah. Also, that same game, Eli, I was playing my deck, which has about 6 Foretell spells, and I think I had like 2 Foretell spells. Very cool.
Yeah, so it was doing a lot of work that game, but it's also, I think, it got bounced back to my hand like 3 times, and then before finally getting removed, and then I had to recur it, and it got removed again. And it just really, it be that kind of card where it really stops some people from playing the game. Mm-hmm. So I took it out of my Thalia deck, trying to make that deck more of a proactive deck and less about cards like that, like hate bears and stuff, but...
I just like to make a mention. It's not technically a bear. It's a 1/3.
Yeah, it's not a bear. It's not a bear.
Well, it's a lopsided bear. It took the 1 power and it moved it into its toughness.
Ooh.
It's a bear with a fat ass.
You know,
it's a bear with a thickie.
Yeah.
Funny enough, like, I think if you look at the Drannith Magistrate, he kind of looks like Pleasant Kenobi.
He does actually a little bit, I think.
So I
Maybe
think
that's why he likes the card.
That's probably why he got defensive, like Pleasant Connect. That's why
defensive,
he had to step
by
in.
the way.
Yeah,
Real defensive.
Yeah.
He just said, I like the card.
I think the card is good.
He said,
I like
Magistrate is
interaction.
good because I am good.
I like Magistrate because it looks like me and I am a perfect human being.
So I think the main issue that a lot of people took with Callahan's take is that he's a CEDH player. Like he's in the playing with Power Group, and it just seems like CEDH is like the place for Drannith Magistrate.
Yeah.
So especially like comparing it to Thoracle or Dockside Extortionist, that's bad company.
Sure. Bad company.
Yeah, because as someone that I guess you played it against me once, but I don't remember that. It doesn't. I don't know. I read it and I go, okay, cool. Like it definitely locks you down a bit, but it doesn't like. It doesn't make me mad as like a more casual. I could understand why someone who's into CEDH would definitely get mad about a card like that.
Well, that's also a surprising thing too, because I think a lot of CEDH decks don't really need to play their commander.
Yeah, and it's also like you were saying, Garrett, like you can see how somebody would get frustrated about it, but also CEDH is kind of like the format where you can do anything and people just expect that they shouldn't get mad about
you
it.
play
Yeah,
like
you
they play Trinisphere, which like makes every spell that costs less than 3, it costs 3.
Yeah.
So
it seems like the type of format that you go into and it's like maybe I shouldn't get mad about the little things.
Expect the worst.
Yeah, that kind of.
I guess that was a bit surprising, maybe. I want to say that I, as a player, I am, and this might just be like my bias and like what I like to play, but I tend to not play decks that rely on the commander. So, obviously, Drannith Magistrate is going to affect me, but I'm much more. I think it's much more fair game than I think other people might think because I build my deck to function without my commander. And if you don't do that, if you build your deck to function only with your commander, I see why you might be a little bit peeved about that, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people, and Cal's actually, like, he had some follow-up tweets, and he's in this camp of, they think Drannith Magistrate is kind of against the idea of the format because it's a card you play in Commander to stop people from playing their Commander. And I should be able to play my Commander in Commander. That's why we call it GEDH, because we don't have that expectation.
We don't have commanders.
Yeah, we don't.
Nobody plays a commander.
We have generals.
You could have just pronounced it general. It starts with a G.
It's got an extra E in there. So
An extra E? Where'd the E come? Oh, Elijah. He's moving his weight. He's trying to backstab me.
Throwing his weight around, yeah.
Yeah, throwing his weight around. Yeah, speaking.
EDH.
Oh, no. Elder.
EDH. But yeah, Eli, what's your final? I said my case. What's your final opinion on Drannith Magistrate? You give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down?
I think it's a big thumbs up because, so we talk about the white meme a lot, like white in Commander thing, and white's thing is kind of hate bearers, and Drannith Magistrate. I don't know if I might take an opposite approach. I think it's maybe one of the
most fun,
one of the best white cards made in the last several years.
Sure.
For Commander. It's a one-sided hate bear that is extremely relevant.
Do you mean best as like good or as
like
in like good for the format, I guess?
I think
like,
both. I think it's strong and probably good for the format.
Because the way I read that one guy's original tweet was he kind of thinks it's bad.
He does think it's bad for the format.
Like
or at least he thinks it's unfun at least.
Because like I feel like you can have cards that are good, obviously, and that are bad for the format.
Yeah.
Or that you enjoy playing.
I think that's what he would say.
But that are bad for the
format. I think Callahan would say it's a good card that is unfun and bad for the format. I think that's what he would say.
Yeah.
But Eli, you're saying that it's both good and fun, or what? You know what I mean? Like
good and good for the format. Good and good for you.
Yeah, like broccoli.
Just
like broccoli.
Just like this whiskey.
Oh yeah, of course, real good for you. I don't know. As a more casual guy, I feel like I'm in the middle, just because I get frustrated at the lock effects, but like also, like that's White's thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what they do.
Like if I'm playing against a guy playing a white deck, I kind of expect that kind of stuff every once in a while. So it's like. Just like I expect to get countered out my ass if I'm playing against some blue person, or green's going to have 27 lands on the board, or whatever you want to go with,
That's
right?
a refreshing take. You know, green gonna green, white gonna white, right?
Oh, wow, they do their color pie things.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Red's gonna play a burn spell.
Shout out to Morrow.
Green should play the burn spell.
Yeah, green should play
Unban Biorhythm.
We're anti-unban biorhythm, by the way.
The main idea of this discussion was just to talk about some Twitter etiquette and how something seemingly innocuous and just what seems like respectful, responsible discourse can get blown out of proportion by, I don't know, I think it's just followers see this thing happen and they're like, oh, Pleasant Kenobi's doing the thing, I want to do the thing too. And
dude, how many people do you think didn't even see the original tweets from either Pleasant Kenobi or the other guy, and they just heard some other tweet that was like, oh, Pleasant Kenobi's a bad guy for doing this?
My experience with Magic Twitter, that's probably a lot of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like looking at the full context of like both the tweets, it doesn't look bad at all. But I could see like if I followed some random other Magic, like if I saw EDH Takes tweet out, oh my god, I can't believe Pleasant Kenobi would do that to a smaller creator.
Because honestly, when this originally happened, I didn't pay much attention to it because I didn't see it as a big thing. But then throughout the week,
it just kept.
I continuously, steam. Like, we don't even follow. I don't even think we follow Callahan. I think he just shows up on our feed like all the time.
Popular guy, yeah.
Can I want to take this moment to make a public service announcement for what I believe. I think am I correct in this case, Eli, that Callahan didn't like directly say that Pleasant Kenobi, like he just was talking about how like people were blowing up at him and stuff, or did he mention Pleasant Kenobi?
So my understanding of the resolution of this situation, actually, if you want to see a summary of this, there's a good Twitter account I would recommend, Library of Lang. He does like Twitter discourse like summaries and tweets about it.
Oh no, Twitter drama account.
There was a friend of Cal's, or like a friend of a lot of Magic players, but this guy, I forget his. I think it's like Dynamico Nestico or something.
Something like that.
He's got a weird name, but he's an interesting guy. He's not our sort of
folk.
He might be muted on the.
Oh no!
But he like added Pleasant Kenobi and like really like raked him over the coals and was like a huge like real dick to him, and like called him out and like was trying to like do a big thing about it, and then Pleasant Kenobi blocked him as he is in the right
Kenobi.
To do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cal had to come out and be like, "Hey, I appreciate people looking out, but we're good.
Yeah,
we got the sword. You don't need to.
We can be adults here."
But my public service announcement that I wanted to give, which maybe doesn't pertain to this specific situation, but just in general, I am a very vehement anti-vague poster proponent. I really get mad when I see people on Magic Twitter reference something or like vague post about something. Be like, this thing makes me mad, but not saying what it is. I think it's kind of a bitch move, and also kind of counter to
how vague are some of these tweets?
Really vague.
I don't.
It's really hard to figure out what's happening.
They don't even mention like
the
Kenobi or Cal, or they just are like,
not necessarily
I can't
this
believe
situation.
Twitter would do this.
Not necessarily this situation, but other situations that have happened over the years.
Okay.
Just people will. So I thought about making a tweet about this, right?
A vague post yourself?
And then I realized, wait a second, if I say all these vague posts are really cringe, that's me vague posting.
Nobody got over 2010 Facebook.
Yeah.
Everyone in 2010 on Facebook was going, can't believe she would do this to me. And it's like, who are you talking about?
So my point is, if you want to say something, then say it. That's
novel.
So, okay, to play devil's advocate here, I think a lot of the time when people do stuff like that, the idea is like, if I mention this person, it's going to get back to them and it's going to be bad for me. But at the same time, like to if I can reverse that and victim blame here,
whoa.
I feel like a lot of the time somebody has something really like minor or petty happen to them and they want to be vague about it so that they get extra sympathy. That's how I see it most of the time.
It feels weird. Like, if you're trying to not get back to the person, don't tweet on your like 1,000 follower account that definitely one of your followers is just going to at the person because they will be in on the knowledge.
What I'm referring to is this is a made up example that probably happened.
Oh shit.
So remember back when Josh C. Kwai and Jimmy Wong were getting all their shit for like influencing the format or whatever, like with their dear
oh
Watsy.
Yeah.
So someone might tweet
dear
out
Watsy, by the way, not
Watsy.
But you got to pronounce that good.
Yeah,
otherwise...
Wizards of the Coast. So someone might tweet out something like
Hasbro affiliate.
Someone might think like see this stuff and tweet out, "Man, I really hate how Magic content creators are, doing this, but saying
ruining
this
the format." Or...
When they are very clearly talking about the command zone, but they just won't say it. I think that's a mega cringe. I think if you're talking about the command zone or you're talking about something, just say who you're talking about. Otherwise, you're being a little bit of a bitch. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I back that up.
Yeah, you got my name in your mouth. You better spit it out.
I'm also a aggressive person when it comes to that kind of stuff. I want to see fights happen. Twitter fights are fun because it's like they don't matter at the end of the day.
If you're not naming the person or whatever, and you're alluding to something that people in the know about, you're kind of trying to get the social credit from people that know, but without the consequence of what you're saying.
Yeah.
You want to be able to retreat to be like plausible deniability, like I wasn't talking about you.
It's like it's like when you see those apologies where it's like you don't say what you're apologizing for. You're just like, I'm sorry I did a thing.
Things, yeah.
And it's like, so the people that don't know what the hell is happening, they're just gonna skip over because they don't know what that is. But the people that do know, it's
not a real apology, right?
Yeah. The people that do know, they're like, well,
yeah.
That's a bit of a weird thing.
That's a bit of my little tangent I wanted to go off on in between this Drannith Magistrate discussion and whatever's coming up next.
You're not allowed to go on tangents anymore. You're cut off.
I think we can just all agree, shame on Callahan for making us side with Pleasant Kenobi.
He didn't do anything wrong except make us side with Pleasant Kenobi.
It's not cool, man.
At the end of the day, that's the worst thing he's done.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Well, Eli, we got more drama you got on the list?
We got the final, the most recent, to my recollection.
We had more than that.
We got three good ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's this one. We were talking about this earlier. I can actually not have to look at.
You can chime in
my stuff.
Okay,
that's crazy.
So, I don't listen to this podcast too often, but I was listening to the Command Sphere podcast, which is a very good Commander podcast.
Out of 10, real quick.
Good out of 10.
If I gave it out of 10,
I need a controversial number. Because if you say the real number, it's
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
That's
which is pretty high because Rachel and Dan, the hosts of it, they're like real life comedians. Like they actually do that professionally. So they're actually funny people with like really good chemistry.
Yeah,
but the problem is they're talking about Commander, an inherently unfunny subject. And it ruins it. It's like, just make me laugh funny, man.
They should just have a comedy podcast and just like...
I think they probably do, yeah.
Or you could just, go look at their actual comedy stand-up stuff.
They got funny shit on there. And they had an episode recently about like pregame discussions and Rule Zero stuff. And Rachel says at some point in the podcast, and I think Dan says it too, that if you're playing proxies, you shouldn't even have to mention that before the game. So in this episode, it comes out, and then it gets kind of a discussion going, and I think Rachel puts out like a poll about it, like, if you prefer to know if people had proxies in their deck before the game or not. And then the friends of the show, the Nitpicking Nerds.
Yeah.
Which we don't talk about that often. They're pretty big channel for how new those guys are. I feel like they just like up and came like in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it was within the last 2 years. I remember them. I remember one of their, well, not one of their first episodes, but I remember seeing them back in that Grave Titan discourse like a year and a half ago or something, and I think they were relatively small at that point.
Yeah, they got in trouble for saying that certain cards weren't like viable or like weren't playable.
Weren't the Commander caliber kind of thing, like the Josh thing.
And how do you get in trouble for that?
It was just their opinion because I think it might have. I don't want to like out anyone here because I mean she didn't do anything really wrong, but I think it was Kristen from the CAG actually that got. I think she vague posted them.
She vague posted in a tweet, if I remember correctly. I might be mistaken here. Sorry. She tweeted something about like this is like gatekeeping behavior.
Yeah.
She said this was gatekeeping behavior because they did a podcast about like how there's like I think it was like top 10 cards that we don't think are playable anymore.
How is that gatekeeping? It's just, oh my god.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was kind of dumb.
This is why I don't
I think
talk to you about
a lot
this
of
Twitter
people,
shit all the time.
Yeah. A lot of people saw their video as being like, "Oh, you're saying I'm like dumb if I want to play these cards?" And it's like,
yes.
No, it's literally
Giga Chat.
They should have just come out and said that. They should have said top 10 cards where you are an idiot if you play these cards.
If I see this card in your deck, I don't want to play in the pod anymore.
We should do that. Yeah. That'd be a good episode.
Ooh.
Top 10 idiot cards for idiots.
There you go. Side episode.
We'll do that.
Number 1, Vidalcan Ori.
Good name.
Stupidest card ever made.
But digressing from that discourse a year and a half ago or whatever.
Old drama. New drama.
Rachel put out this poll about, do you expect untrusted opponents to mention proxies in their deck during Rule 0? And the poll results may surprise you, they may not, but they were just about 50-50.
Huh.
Which, to me, was a bit surprising.
Same.
And to the Nitpicking Nerds, it was also surprising. So that's why they made like a response tweet. Eli, do you have that pulled up?
5 days ago, our boy, Joe Cherry's friend of the show, he said, "I think it is important that you let... I'm reading his thing word for word.
Maybe he's drunk like
I think it is important that you let everyone at the table know that you have proxies in a deck before the game begins. They are not technically legal in Commander, and any player has the right to not want to play versus them. I have nothing against proxies personally. And then the next day, they had to make a follow-up tweet saying, I didn't know it would be controversial to say you should tell people before a Commander game when you have non-legal Magic cards in your Magic deck.
They really do be like that, though, on Magic Twitter, I feel.
I can't imagine playing, like, against someone I don't know and they pull out, like, the Transformer deck, and it's like... Yeah. Like, I would be comfortable playing that game, maybe.
You want to know, though.
But I want to be told that, like, I don't want to just, like, randomly see the My Little Pony cards.
Yeah, but what about proxies of, like, legal Magic, like, in the format? Like EDH legal.
Well, you know me. I don't spend money on Magic the Gathering, so I'm a big proxy boy. All of my decks are full proxies, 100%. But I also only play with close personal friends, so I feel like that immediately changed the proxy discussion.
You would go to a game store and play with your deck and then not mention that your deck is a proxy deck?
No, I feel like I would. Because, like, especially...
untrusted opponents. That's what we're talking
untrusted
about.
people I don't know or whatever.
Randos.
Yeah, to not mention that your deck is technically not legal feels completely off.
Yeah, because you don't know other people's preferences, and I think most people have the assumption, like, oh, if you're cool, you're pro-proxy.
So there have been like a bunch of popular content creators that are very pro-proxy, and they pretty much frame it as there's no good argument against proxies, or like I remember one of the Alias V. What was that podcast? Their game series?
Oh yeah, the Commander.
I forgot what it's called.
Show.
They have a Commander gameplay series, and then on one of the episodes, she's like, oh, I play my Steam Bounce or something, and it's proxy because Commander, and the professor talks about how proxies are pretty much ubiquitously good, and there's no downside to them and no arguments against them. So I could see why some people might be bought into that, or like think that like proxies are like synonymous with the format. But I don't agree.
It seems weird to get so far like down the path of proxy, because I get why people would use proxies, and I get why I use proxies.
Yeah,
personally.
I use proxies.
But like, yeah, in a random untrusted, like the argument against proxies is that they're not legal. That's the only argument that should matter.
Well, it's not even that like, okay, so it's not even that you should like 100% of the time have to disclose that you have proxies. It's that when someone like Joe Cherries says, I think you probably should, people will disagree with that? Like, what's the disagreement there? Like, that seems like a pretty fair point to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone will at the same time be like, oh, you should have this giant like pregame discussion and mention like all these little things that might upset people, but at the same time be like, if you're playing with some busted ass looking, like even if they're...
Your black and white printed, garbage cut... your terrible proxies
scrawled down on a piece of scratch paper, right?
Or those are the worst. Is when people don't even like print out cards, and it's just literally the card written out.
Yeah, or even like if I have good looking proxies that are like close to looking like real Magic cards, and like they're very like it's easy to tell what they are. You can read them and everything. They look good.
That's a little bit.
But
less,
if I have like every original dual land proxied, and I'm playing against somebody, and they're like, wow, like you really like have those cards, and they get a little like maybe uncomfortable with that because like they're not at that like kind of price range or whatever. They don't play with those kind of cards.
And you're like, no, I just proxy them. And they're like, oh, okay.
It definitely feels weird proxying super expensive cards because as my decks are all proxied. Like I said, I attempt to at least be decent with my like budget, my fake budget.
But that's the ultimate like killer argument for the pro proxy camp is that like if you're saying you're anti somebody like proxying stuff, they would say that you're like gatekeeping based on like financial reasons.
Isn't that the point of like trading card games though? Like
a little bit.
At the end of the day, you're
it's part of the draw of a collectible card game. Yeah.
I don't mean this in anything more than just like a joke, but like you can't be a socialist card game player, right? Like
everyone has all the cards. I see what you mean.
Like, yeah, we're not playing.
we're not playing a simulator with all the cards on that.
Yeah, we're not.
Right?
We're not playing Dueling Network.
Yeah,
is there a Magic?
It's
equivalent?
Dueling Book now.
Is there a Magic? Equivalent
There's
of
online
Dueling
like
Network?
Untapped.am.
Oh yeah, and
there's some
Quinn
websites
plays
for
that.
it.
There's Solus Midwest. Shout out to our streaming friends.
So the way people phrase it is like, oh, they're all just game pieces, so why can't I like proxy a game piece to play the game? But it's a lot of those pieces that you might want to proxy. It's like, okay, I get it's a game piece, but do you need, like, Magic is a game where it has so many interchangeable pieces. It's like, do you need that particular piece? Do you need that Mana Crypt and Mana Vault to like make your deck work?
In every deck?
Like I don't know.
And even that, like, because if the argument is I'm printing a game piece, that I feel like that would only apply to basic lands. Like, if you didn't have basic lands for some reason and you walked up with proxies of that, I feel like nobody would give a shit.
Probably not. There would be.
There'd be one guy. There'd be one guy who has an issue with it.
I got a story about this. My friend Alistair. He at one point he was playing a Greven deck, which isn't relevant to this statement, but it was a black and red Greven deck, and his lands in the deck were swamps and islands. I don't remember why. It might have been because he changed the sleeves over or the mana base over from something, but he had swamps and islands instead of swamps and mountains in his deck, and it was
terrific.
It was a bit epic.
That is pretty funny. Yeah.
I don't know, man, but it was a bit cringe, I'd say.
So I'm not trying to like call out anyone specifically here, but I have a friend who is very pro proxy and uses a lot of proxies in his decks.
Bag posting.
Oh, I'll
You're not on Twitter.
I'll let him know.
You're not on Twitter. It's fine.
I'll let him know.
But
I'll hit him up.
So I've had the proxy discussion with him, and he's like brought up the points about like gatekeeping, like financially, and he can definitely like afford the cards. So like that's not really even part of the issue. But the proxies he'll use, and you can attest to this, Spencer. It looks like he like ripped them out of a sheet of paper with his bare hands and then ran them through a dryer, like a wash dry cycle.
That's true.
They are borderline illegible and they look terrible, and they're oftentimes pretty expensive cards or just good cards. And it's like, God damn it,
Imagine
Finn, I love you, but
yeah.
Imagine showing up to a local game store and you have like a terrible looking like dual land and it's just like all crumpled and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah,
they just like start freaking out. They're like, what'd you do to that card?
Oh my god, imagine dude, I should do that. I should proxy like expensive cards but like get like really good quality proxies of them
and just rip them in front of people.
Well, like take the card and just like slam it down on the table, like kind of like flick it on the table like it's kind of bending, just to kind of give people anxiety.
Oh no.
Or we could do a prank, Eli, where like you're like, oh hey, can I see that card? And you're like, see it, but you're like bending it. Okay, never mind. This is some
dumb hypotheticals.
Yeah, this is like what the what is it? Always Sunny characters would do if they were Magic players.
Spencer Cook has never seen an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, by the way.
Oh, I know the Trash Man. That's all I need to know.
They've seen one clip.
Yeah, there you go. I know the bar thing.
Sorry to call you out on your own podcast, even.
Garrett's kind of like the Frank of the group.
I've also never seen a full episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Call yourself out. But yeah, I'm with you, Eli, on most of what you said. Have good proxies. That's my number one.
Yeah,
statement.
I mean, I'm very pro proxy. I just want to be able to read it, and I want a little warning, like what to look out for if you are playing a proxy.
But
that's mostly the only reason I want to know.
If someone tells me that they'd like me to, or they think that you should have to, mention that you're playing proxy for your game, I'd be like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. And I might forget sometimes, or I might not, but like, I don't think that's disagreeable. I don't think you can disagree with that.
Unless somebody's entire deck was proxied and like illegible, because like Garrett, your deck is entirely proxied, but they're like good-looking proxies.
They're pretty decent.
They're color printed. They're completely legible. I can tell what they are.
My stepfather works at a nice company that has a nice printer. He got got the hookups.
Yeah, not everyone can afford a printer.
Yeah, I'm gatekeeping printers. No.
Yeah.
The rules committee has the monopoly on the printers.
No.
This episode is just EDH takes coming out as gatekeepers.
So yeah, I can't think of a great counter argument to the idea of being anti-proxy is gatekeeping financially. I can't think of a good response to that. All I can say is if somebody had their entirely proxy deck and I could read it, I would say, sure, you can play with me. I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, if I knew somebody who said, no, you can't play with me, I wouldn't think that person was an asshole.
I would understand their perspective. Like, personally, I will champion... I will say I would not like to play with you if you're like playing a full proxy deck. Like, I will say that. Like, and I'll set that precedent.
He just said it.
I just said it. I will say it.
It's recorded.
But
look at the WAV file.
If you come up to me at a local game store or at our
your
humble
local
abode,
LGS,
your local LGS, and you pull up with your proxy deck, or you pull up with your, for example, I don't like non-legal commander cards and stuff like that. So like silver border stuff, but like
yeah.
I'm definitely willing to play. Like my friend Jesse, he's got a silver the My Little Pony Nightmare Moon or whatever deck. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean I play with that. I played against him playing that like 3 or 4 times. Like as much as I'm like against it, doesn't mean I'm fully like never willing to play with it. It's just like
just gotta be the right
context.
ground rule.
Yeah,
it's ground rule.
You don't prefer it.
Yeah,
it's not your preference.
And I don't want it to be an expectation that I should have to. That's it.
And that's the whole idea of like the pregame discussion and like trying to figure stuff out. It's about preferences and trying to figure out what they're like your ideal game.
I'm willing a lot of the time to take a hit to my own like enjoyment sometimes. Like if I don't prefer playing with non-silver border or silver border cards, like I could take that hit if I have to. Like I'd be like, okay, we'll play with silver border, that's fine to get the game going, right? But I shouldn't have to. If I for some reason feel more strongly about it than I do, I should be able to be like, no, I don't want to, without feeling like
without being
I'm
seen as the
wrong.
bad guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're willing to play that silver border game because you're a little bit of a bitch.
Exactly.
Some might say.
Exactly.
Just stop
stop
villainizing people for having preferences.
That's true.
Yeah, such minor like again with like proxies, it's like that's not a legal card. Like I get the money issue, and that's why I don't do it. Fuck you. I'm not buying.
You're not giving Wizards any money.
I'm not supporting Wizards of the Coast. Look at all the stupid stuff they've done. Wow. But I'll still
play the game.
Well, I mean, after the Secret Lair of the Walking Dead, that was when Captain was created, and then thus GEDH.
Maybe GEDH
maybe it predated beforehand. Captain.
Maybe we just took over Captain's ideology. With all the
Captain might have been modeled after GEDH.
That's crazy to think that we had. Well, I mean, we did play that one game with Mitch.
Because GEDH, although
we never played a game with Mitch.
Although
I don't associate with the commander's quarters.
Oh, nobody does.
He's got a couple friends. I've watched a couple of his podcasts with his buddy.
Yeah, and he's done.
They seem okay. I don't mind them as much as I think you guys do.
Fair enough.
You like the close quarters gameplay?
No, I don't watch. I'm not gonna watch.
Garrett doesn't watch gameplay.
You think I'm gonna watch Commander?
He only watches GDH gameplay, and there's no GDH gameplay at this point, so nothing for him to watch.
Half the time I'm checked out of our own Commander games. I'm not watching someone else's Commander games.
Garrett, next time we play Smothering Tithe,
oh yeah,
every time it makes a treasure, can we do like a whole like cutaway bit where like we're being like, oh, money's falling down on me?
Oh no,
I think they did that in their first episode.
Is that a Commander quarter?
Single
Did he do that in
time,
or is that a command? Okay,
yeah, that was their.
Why does everyone have to have Commander in their name?
Exactly. That's what we're saying.
I mean, we have EDH in our name. It's
I was
different.
Gonna say you got EDH. You got.
So there are like 400 podcasts whose
name is Commander something.
Whose name is either Commander something or it's just Magic the Gathering card name. So, for example,
I love when it's just the name of a Command Sphere, like you were talking about.
We're the Goblin Guides.
Yeah, we're the Snapcaster Mages.
What if someone just called themselves Krenko?
Now, I kind of like this one.
We're the Invoke Prejudices.
No.
1488.
No, that is the number.
Gatherer, thank you. I love racism.
No.
Cut that one out. Or don't. I don't care.
I'd like to make a public service announcement. The EDH Takes Commander crew does not endorse any form of racism or bigotry.
This entire podcast was satire.
I'm not part of the crew.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Should not use that word.
Is that like a...
Spencer, you say you can say anything on the internet. You just say it's satire afterwards.
That's
Is
true.
that the way to get away with anything?
It's post-meta irony. We had a discussion about that a couple days ago.
Did.
I know you're a big irony fan.
I love irony. What were we talking about a moment ago, by the way?
Probably some dumb
podcast names.
I was going to say, I kind of like this podcast name, even though it does fall into that theme of card name, but I think Temple of the False Pod is kind of a funny name.
Oh, that's
a
kind
decent
of a
one.
clever one. I like stuff like that, like little puns.
Little pun.
But for the most part,
we're pun enjoyers.
I'm gonna criticize people. I'm actually gonna criticize
It's so easy. It's like writing an ad for the Command Zone.
Yeah.
Like you just take like a card name and be like, "Oh, I'm Sun Titan, so I get a lot of sun. That's why I need this sunblock to stop me from getting skin cancer."
Ristic Studies is a good name too, because that's like study. It's not Ristic Study, it's Studies, because it's like a.
And he was also
on
yeah.
YouTube.
He
That
was
guy's
one of the
awesome.
he was one of the OGs
Shout out that
too.
guy.
Magic Man Sam, yeah.
He was an OG. He was one of the first people to do that. So that's how you can get away with that. If you're like Command Zone, Ristic Studies,
They get the pass.
Because they were there.
they were the first.
Yeah.
They were there early, yeah.
But when
you
you're
get
coming up now and you're like, no disrespect to the man, but I'm the Commander Mechanic, and it's like, you gotta, you good on you for your content, but I don't like your name that much.
Your content better be you talking about Commander from like that little dolly that goes underneath cars.
I think his profile picture is like the set symbol with like the wrench.
That makes
So
sense.
is that right? Am I wrong about that?
I think it would have been better if he was the EDH engineer.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a free one. Someone steal that.
Steal it, guys.
God damn it! Just lost it.
No.
You lost it.
You
were gonna go out. You were gonna branch off on your own once you got popular.
That should be Reed's channel.
Yeah.
He is an engineer. He is a trained engineer.
If we ever need to do a satire video with about Commander Mechanic, we can use that EDH engineer.
Again, everything here is satire. This last however long, satire.
Do you want to spoil some of our satire names for some of the Magic personalities, Eli?
No, because I kind of want to play him straight.
Okay, fair enough. I'll cut it out, Eli. I'll cut it out.
Oh yeah, don't
cut that out.
let him look behind the curtain.
Don't let him look. Eli's
I want to make like something like Desolator Magic, where like part of me still thinks that he's putting it on.
That would be the great reveal if in like a year or two he just comes out and is like, yeah, I've been tricking you guys.
Because here's the thing about Desolator Magic that makes no goddamn sense. So like every video he does, he talks about how much he fucking hates the game. He never stops playing. He hates it more than anything.
See, Eli, this is where I think me and Spencer can understand that perspective.
We're masochists.
We were
your League players?
Yeah, League of Legends
Legends.
players.
Yeah.
For anyone
Fair.
in the audience who's ever played League of Legends, for
the
more
worst
than
game in the world.
for more than like
I've got 10,000 hours in it.
yeah, for more than like 5 to 10 games, you start to hate League of Legends.
But you'll love it. You keep coming back.
You've put 6 years into the game. I have to keep playing. I started playing this in the middle of high school, and it's like, what else am I going to play?
10 years later or something crazy.
10 years later, I've dumped, I don't want to say how much money into the game.
Yeah.
It's the kind of... I think Magic and League of Legends are similar in the sense that you leave the game, but you always come back.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I wouldn't recommend people selling out of their entire collections. Like, even if you want to sell out your stuff, maybe keep a commander deck or something, because I feel like at some point you're going to want to try to play the game again.
Or even just transition into proxies.
Sure, that
works.
too.
There's an example. That's a pro-proxy statement.
There you go.
What the hell?
Yeah, actually, Garrett, how you do it with the proxies, the Nitpicking Nerds, they put out a video about this controversy, and they specifically like showed it. They said they have a friend that's exactly like you that just plays Commander like a few times a year and has like 2 decks proxied. And I was like, that's Gigas.
Hey, I have 3 right now. One of them's in sleeves that need to get replaced, so I'm not going to play
apart.
it. Yeah,
That's the true proxy mentality. You gotta save your money everywhere you can. Use old sleeves and don't buy cards.
I believe the sleeves for that deck were given to me. So.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
Reed bought like 1,000 KMCs or whatever, and he gave me 100. So
hey, can I? Now that you mention that, did anyone play Commander in like 2015, 2014? Or any Magic in general, I guess, not just Commander. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember those KMC black sleeves from like 2014, 2015? You would get them on mass drop in packs of like 600. Do you guys remember that?
I need to admit something shameful to the audience.
Uh-oh.
I used penny sleeves up until like too long, like way too far into my Magic career.
So I can't vouch for KMC sleeves as of late, but like 2005 KMC sleeves.
2015, you mean?
2015 KMC sleeves, yes.
Not playing Magic in 2005.
Not the Afghanistan crisis 2005 we're talking about.
We're talking about Ukraine 2022 KMC sleeves.
Well, not those ones, but yeah.
Fuck.
But those were the fucking best sleeves I've ever seen. and I still have some of them. I still use them to this day.
If those are the ones that one deck
ago.
is sleeved in, yeah, they're fucking great.
They're awesome. I would love them so much.
I mean, the only issue is just that they're just straight black.
Yeah.
I wish you could have gotten some fun colors.
Sad thing is, I understand it. Modern day KMCs aren't the same. They changed the secret recipe.
The formula.
They went new
formula?
Coke on it.
Yeah. Oh my god, new Coke.
Crystal Pepsi.
True.
Yo, you guys tried the new Coke?
They brought back Crystal Pepsi a few years ago.
Yeah, they did.
You ever try it?
No, I didn't.
It's not. It's just like regular Pepsi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you seen... This is sorry for this
Tangent.
side tangent. There's a video out there of a guy drinking like a 25-year-old Crystal Pepsi, and he instantly vomits it up. It's a great video. Look that up.
Is it because it's 25 years old?
Yeah, it's an expired ass Pepsi.
I'll throw it in the video.
Yeah, well, just look up. I will give a warning. It's straight vomit. It's very disgusting.
I'll cut it out.
Don't put it in the video. But like,
I'm putting it in the video. Censored or something.
I would just say,
to know.
Just look up like trying old Crystal Pepsi, and you'll probably find the video. It's great.
Epic.
Sorry for that side tangent. I know. Magic the Gathering fans
it's
are big
related
soda
because
fans.
in a way, like looking at Magic Twitter too long is a lot like drinking the 25-year-old Crystal Pepsi.
You just want to vomit instantly? Is
Well,
that the comparison?
Yeah. Well, maybe not vomit.
I wasn't going that far, Garrett.
You want to expel it from your system.
So I have a confession to make about.
We're just getting all the confessions.
Well,
today.
it's not a real confession. It is a confession, but it's not
special.
It's a confession, but it's not really something that's going to make. Well, maybe you'll think I'm an
idiot. Is it relating to the thing you did outside of Arby's in '96?
I wasn't born in '96.
Owned.
So sometimes I will be listening to Commander content. Maybe it's podcast, maybe it's looking at Twitter. Sometimes, you'll just have that little bit of an outburst, if you guys know what I'm saying. Like, you just get mad, and you just, like, punch a wall or something. I don't punch walls, but sometimes I do be a little bit vocal. Mostly when I'm hanging out with my friends, because you can play it up a little bit. But, like, that's what you're saying, Eli. Like, you look at Magic Twitter, and you don't throw up, but you do go, fuck, what an idiot! Or something like that.
I'm trying to remember what the thing that... There was something that Jimmy does or used to do that when he would do it, I'd be listening to it at home and I would just not be able to help myself. I would repeat whatever he said.
In a mocking tone?
In a mocking voice after he said it. Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, this is so
Like Jimmy will, petty, it's not this, but Jimmy would say blammo and I'd just be like, blammo! Or something. Blammo! Something like that. But not that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. Like, if I hear something in a podcast, like when I'm driving in my car or something, and I hear something that's really dumb.
Oh, what it is, and if I haven't said this before, I'm going to ruin the command zone for anyone who does enjoy it.
And we enjoy it, by the way.
I know Jimmy's been off for a while because he had a baby, but when he comes back on, Jimmy
he himself
over enunciates his C and K sounds. Whenever he goes k, like in a word, he over enunciates it. Okay, and it's really frustrating. That's the thing that I would do.
Oh, so you'd go...
You would just repeat...
I would repeat whatever he said, like with a big, like
cock. Wait.
Cather Crusade. Something like that.
Oh, no. That sounds
awful. It's not usually at the start of the word. It's like if there's a word like or something.
Like.
Yeah.
Or
it's like a weird...
Thromac.
Everyone has something like that. It's not good to pick on people for it, but it's just... as soon as I noticed it, I couldn't unnotice it.
Yeah.
Eli, this is kind of related to something earlier. You can't... It's not picking on someone if they have more Twitter followers than you.
Facts.
It's only picking
up.
Yeah, you're punching up. That's comedy or something. That's what I've heard from Twitter people.
It is comedy.
You can only punch up. No punching down.
Yeah.
Disclosure here. We would like to remind everyone at the Jesus Christ. The EDH Takes... community lounge that we respect and appreciate the opinions of all content creators that we talk about, and we want nothing but the best for them. Thank you. This has been our public service announcement.
Again, except for Pleasant Kenobi.
Except for Mitch. Okay. Pleasant Kenobi gets a pass.
Earlier in the podcast, he got a pass, but that only lasted 45 minutes. At most.
At most. Well, you got any other memes to talk about? You guys got some epic topics?
Yeah, actually,
you want
to... There was... I saw that... we were talking about that thing earlier, and I saw that one lady, Rachel Weeks.
Yeah.
She posted...
Friend of the show.
The Commander Sphere's handy guide for productive pregame conversations. And it's got 10 questions. And I thought some of these were funny, just because it was how long is your conversation for a pregame? I feel like it should just be, hey, I have proxies, or hey, this is my deck,
I think Eli and I have taken issue with this in our power level discussion video, where overcomplicating the shit out of these discussions is counter to the goal.
Yeah.
How long is it, Garrett? It's longer every time.
It feels like the type of thing. Again, I don't play a lot of like untrusted opponents, but it feels like the type of thing that if you can't explain your pregame discussion in like 2 to 3 sentences, then you probably have some weird like, take on what's going on.
I guess like you don't really play with people other than us, Garrett. But like in our games, do we ever play a game or like have a game where you at the end of it go like, wish we would have cleared some stuff up before that.
Wish we would have told each other our power scale.
No, because we don't do that, and like maybe we are very privileged to have a group of people that
you're both
of trusted opponents.
So the thing is, like when that that happens to me sometimes. I play with some people, like my friend Alistair. Like we had a couple games like that recently, right? But like, it doesn't ruin the day or anything. You just adjust and move on, right? I feel like that's a pretty simple like solution.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a post game thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just wanted to bring up the 10 questions here.
Okay, so go for it.
How many games do you want to play tonight? Seems, I guess, reasonable.
So, sure, fine.
How many do you want to win? All of them?
Yeah, I don't think that's
that seems like a weird
purpose of that question.
Yeah, I remember that from their podcast episode.
Tell me about your deck. Again.
I tend to not be a fan. I mean, sometimes I'll tell people a little bit of a one-liner, but I tend to like to say, "Oh, it's a cool deck. You'll see."
I mean, like, I get like, "Oh, my commander is this guy." Yeah, okay, cool. I literally will get to see that the second we play. So, like,
not once, Garrett, have you made it clear to me that I'm going to get Volcanic offering 4-for-1
in every game of the session. Yeah,
sometimes multiple times
by 2 different players.
Yeah, that was Spencer's fault. The second one was Spencer's fault. He cast it.
Eli was in the lead. It was necessary.
Of course. Yeah.
Don't listen to them.
How does your deck win? Combat, combo, alt win con, concession, non-combat damage, etc.
This has been a discussion that was, had in the power level discussion where I think I remember when Eli we listened to the EDH rec episode and they were talking about how like they were having differing opinions on revealing their own like win conditions and power and like cards they play, right? Mm-hmm. Like they were like some people were like I don't like sharing what my deck does. Some people were like, oh, I do. I don't know how I feel about this. What's your opinion?
I'm kind of the opinion, if somebody wanted to look through my deck before the game, as long as I trusted them and they were, like, decent with my shit, I would let them. Because I'm not, like, really trying to, like, pull one over on people, like, just because you, like, I feel like people know the format well enough, and, like, some people we know play some real jank, but you can kind of guess based on what kind of deck somebody's playing, like, what they might be holding up anyway, so, like, I feel like somebody knowing exactly what I have in my deck isn't gonna like.
So you don't have a problem with being like, oh yeah, I win through a combo. You don't have a problem saying that?
Yeah, I know. I usually like the combo thing. That's the one thing I will mention because I do know people who
get mad
don't
about
like combos. Yeah,
some people. Yeah.
So I'll mention like if that deck is a combo deck, I'll say it's got a couple combos.
Do you feel a bit slighted when somebody says like describes their deck? Like, let's say you have a pregame discussion where someone describes their deck. Do you feel slighted if they end up winning that game through a combo that wasn't mentioned, or do you feel like that's just fair game?
I don't even know if I would mention. Like, I get mentioning combo, but would you mention your specific combo? That seems weird.
I feel fine unless I straight up ask them, "Are you playing a combo?" And they straight up lie and say, "No, I'm not playing combos," and then they win with a combo.
I think I'm with that too. Like. Sometimes, like, you'll get surprised, like, someone, like, we playing, like, kind of like a bad deck, but then they 2-card combo, you're like, oh, we lost. Like, okay, I guess, fair enough.
Or, like, we talked about this thing, like, the extra turns, like, Josh playing an Orvar deck and being like, oh, I tried to take all the combos out of it. What Peregrine Drake goes infinite? Oh, who's to know that?
So every time I win the game with a combo, I take a card of that combo out. It's like, Josh, you're not trying to make it no combos. You're just trying to, I don't know, man, like, you're not trying hard enough. Yeah, that makes me a little bit bothered. Okay, what's the next one, Garrett?
What turn can your deck consistently try to win?
So this is a question I do like, I think. I mean, it's not super easy to answer, and you kind of have to
consistently try to win is hard. I don't like that's like an oxymoron, kind of, right?
It's
I don't know. It's
my deck consistently tries to win on turn. I don't know.
It's hard to know what's consistently, right?
I think you have to
have
a lot of experience, or you have to goldfish a lot, because through goldfishing, I could probably produce like a board killing like a player killing board state by like turn 7-ish.
Yeah.
In most decks, I feel like, with no interaction. So for me, that question I think is pretty easy to answer because I know my decks and I play a lot.
But if you haven't like played your decks a lot, you might not know, right?
Yeah. So
it definitely feels like a weird like. If I'm testing a new deck out, it's like I guess maybe turn whatever, but
yeah, but I mean that's an okay question. I don't mind it so much, but also like the problem is that people are there's gonna be feel bad to that question because you're gonna say a number and then the result of the game is gonna be different as a result of variance.
I also feel like if you're the kind of person,
not very static.
Yeah.
If you don't like goldfish your decks very often or like know all your lines or like how things can go, and you're only used to playing in groups like with interaction.
Gee, sorry, I dropped my
And
phone.
then you play with like a group of randoms and just nobody interacts with you in a game and you win faster than you thought you ever could. That's gonna cause a problem.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, "Well, you said this was a turn 7 deck.
Like
you won
said
on
turn
5.
7. It's like, well, you guys didn't do anything to me.
Turn 7 if you do stuff. Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to. It's a little bit complicated.
I get that. Like that kind of question kind of assumes maybe like little to no interaction, but like so many decks. Like, I could win on turn 4,
and
maybe even consistently, but if there's any interaction, I immediately fall back to 5 and then 6,
7.
and then
I think I remember a game, Spencer. I did a little mini Boros Royale with our friend Thomas and some guy at Paradox who's playing like a very like low power, like unsleeved, I think, like just total like jank, like Tajik Blade the Legion deck. And I was playing my Bruce and Elena deck and didn't like I've got like fast mana and stuff in that
Good
deck.
stuff in there, yeah.
But it was not a fast mana start. I think it was like a turn 4 do stuff kind of like turn 4. I think I played the Steel Hulk, the Phyrexian fire breathing dragon.
Yeah.
And the next turn I play Bruce, give it double strike and lifelink, and I think I knock somebody out or
enough damage
like kill
to
somebody.
Someone, I guess, yeah.
And it's like, okay, like it's like turn 5 or 6 that I did that, but it's like one piece of interaction.
Yeah. It wasn't even like a fast start either. Like it was just normal, like maybe one mana rock.
Yeah, plenty of time to set stuff up, and one piece of interaction would have knocked it out, but it just didn't happen.
It's hard to. I don't know. Well, let's move on. What's the next question, Garrett?
Any rule those questions were all pre-game convo.
Okay.
And then this is rule 0.
Okay.
Any rule bends, silver border, illegal commanders, non-partner partners, proxies, etc.
I feel like that's not a question you ask. I think that's up to the people to bring up, personally.
Yeah.
But I see why that would be a question you might want to ask. Like,
would you? Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the idea of that. Like, would I ask that? I would go into a game assuming everyone's
I think
playing
it's like the proxy thing. I think there's leaning towards this implication that
it's okay.
You should like assume stuff like that, or like you should be the person to ask.
Yeah,
if people are doing that, not just like they should.
So
not do
every commander game I go into, I am assuming that it's a 100% legal commander game.
I think so too.
If someone comes to that game and says, "I'm playing silver cards" or "I'm playing proxies" or whatever, then we can caveat and go, "Okay, cool. I'm still fine to play that game."
I think there's been enough push in the silver border proxy kind of direction that players who are maybe new players or maybe players who don't play a lot of like against random people might start to get the impression that the vast majority of people just don't care, which I mean that's what people online seem to imply. Like someone asks, like you'll see someone on Reddit post like, "Hey, I'm thinking of making this non-planeswalker or planeswalker commander deck or whatever. How would you guys feel about that?" Then everyone's like, "Yeah, that's perfectly fine." Everyone at your LGS will say the same thing. That's what they say in the comments.
I like to, maybe this is going a little too far, but I refer to a lot of these people as toxic casuals. Where it's just like so casual, like or like very like so set in like this idea of like, oh, everyone's like so cool and like so chill and everything, and we all want to just have a great time. It's like that's not how we have a great time.
You're
like
it's
almost speaking for yourself.
They're setting a bad expectation of what they're like trying to like. Yeah,
it's almost like a toxic positivity, like of the community, where it's like, everyone's perfectly fine. You'll never encounter a bad guy. Nobody will ever be mad about your stuff.
Yeah, and then the implication is also that if you are against that stuff, or if you maybe
don't
do
deserve to be in the
sometimes,
community.
You're a bad person.
You're a bad
Or
person,
you have bad
or-
opinions or something.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just to reiterate, I think if you're doing rule bends, you should be giving the caveat of I have a rule bend.
Yeah, you bring
Nobody
it up.
should assume it, type thing.
But you could also ask that, like, hey, are we just playing, like, are you guys playing any
Sure,
illegal
I guess.
cards? I guess you could, but I wouldn't.
It depends on like the context of
Well,
how you get into the pod and
If I,
yada yada
if
yada.
I, if honestly, if I were to go to like a pod that I knew was, I'm gonna use. Now, I don't mean this any offense, but if I knew these people were a little bit overly casual, if you guys kind of catch what I'm saying, nothing wrong with casual. I play casually too, but like, if people are known for playing like weird rules and stuff like that, I might ask, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
Like, I've got a group of friends. We I don't know how. This is a story for another day, but they play very weird commander rules. And if I was playing with them, I would ask beforehand.
What's your favorite? Just to give one for a teaser for this potential story down
Command-
the line. What's your favorite?
My favorite
dumb rule
commander
of that
price
rule?
rule is the spell book of cards that you can draw from and play a card from being all of the not invocations. Are they? What are they called? All of the mystical archives. You have a spell book of all the mystical archives, and you can play like a card from that every turn or something.
Oh, I thought it was like in replacement of your draw or something. Like
Might
that. It was
be.
some
I don't
weird.
remember.
Yeah.
That's my favorite rule.
So
yeah, that's a great format.
One of the
you
guys,
definitely need to do a video on that.
One of the guys from this group, I think our friend Reed played a game with him, and this guy, like dead ass, plays out one of those
Tomorrow's
mystery
Gone
boosters,
Nuts. That card.
yeah, playtest cards, and just like didn't say anything about, just like it was a normal Magic card, and Reed's like that's not a real card, like you can't play that. And he's like, oh no, it's going to be printed into a real set soon.
It's a playtest card. It's going to be printed.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
But maybe we'll do I've been trying to get a hold of like one of them has like an
Google Doc?
No, like a written down on paper like rules.
Well, I imagine it's like the Necronomicon from the Evil Dead series of films, where it's like bound in human flesh.
So if
I was gonna go with the 10 Commandments. It was written by God Himself.
It's just
on top of a mountain.
It's on these stone tablets.
if I can get a hold of this Necronomicon, I think we should do a video on it sometime. But
I think that would be a good meme because
Yeah.
I remember you reading through some of them from your memory,
my memory.
and it was very
yeah,
It's a
crazy. Like, how do you get to
it's
this
like
point?
a combination of like every weird rule you can think of. Like your deck is separated into lands and non-lands. You got 2 land decks, and you can draw from either of them or something, and 10 other weird rules and stuff.
Yeah, it's a great. It's a fun example of like, since you're such an insular pod, you just become this weird.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've all agreed to these weird rules, and we
there's-
only play with each
And
other.
there's nothing wrong with playing.
Oh,
that.
no.
Absolutely nothing.
100%. I think it's a funny idea to play like once or twice.
But it's a bizarre thing from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what else, Garrett? You got more memes on there?
There was a couple more. Let's see. Everyone cool with that? So I guess just a double confirm.
Sure.
Ready to start?
Oh, okay.
These
okay.
seem like like we needed to get to 10. And then they have post game convo. How did that feel?
So
Are we having intercourse? Like,
yeah, how'd that feel?
Eli,
Actually, this is
let's light up a cigarette. How did that feel for you?
No, we just talked about this in my human sexuality class, and this is a lot like that, actually.
Well, actually, Eli, we like a year ago or something, we actually did this. We kept a Google Doc.
Intercourse?
No, not intercourse. How do you feel about the game? We did for a month or something. We kept track of like a Google Doc.
Oh yeah,
of,
we
like,
should start that again.
We had
Was that
everybody.
was that with Solus Midwest or was that with?
It was with
I
whoever we
think
played
he
with.
was
Okay.
there one time.
This was we kept track of. We would ask people their enjoyment of the game out of 10, and we would keep track of it. Maybe put down the commanders, maybe some notable things that happened
Yeah,
that were
like
important
quick
to
thoughts.
it. Yeah, so like if you were like, I really liked that this happened, I gave it a 7 out of 10. And we did that for a couple months, and it was. I don't know if we got anything out of it, but it was an interesting thing to try. So, no qualms with post game.
I just like the way it's worded.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. And then, do we want to play again? And it's like, okay, cool. That's a very basic, like...
Yeah, you guys want to... I mean, yeah, if you don't want to play, you leave.
Yeah, I don't know. None of them are, like, super controversial, but it just weirds
That's
me
a lot.
out.
10 things.
Yeah, it gets to a weird point of, like... like, do we have to have like a 30-minute discussion before every Magic game?
Yeah, I like that we're getting your take on this, Garrett, as somebody who is like pretty removed from stuff, pretty casual.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with you Magic players often.
True.
You know, around here we use Magic player as a pejorative.
Well, we do that in the podcast sometimes too. Honestly, we're like, oh yeah, but you know, Magic players be like that. Or
he was really a Magic player. Ooh,
yeah, he really was
yikes.
acting like a Magic player out there.
That could be any negative opinion.
We like to harp on ourselves.
It's with love.
Yeah, it's said lovingly.
Magic player can mean anything, because you have Magic players that are, you know, you got your classic stereotypes of like Stinky, right? He's a Magic player. He smelled like a Magic player.
Yeah, but you also have like
But you also can
Giga
have, like,
Chads like Brian
Yeah.
Gilbler.
Yeah.
And you also have like, oh, that guy was socially inept. He was a Magic player. But you can also have like, oh, that guy was really weird around like this specific group of people. But it could be any group of people. That's the great part about like niche communities like this, that you have weirdos in.
Yeah,
Is that you get every broadcast of weirdo.
You could also say, "Oh my God, these guys were so nice. They were Magic players too."
That's not possible.
Well, a lot of people will say that.
I've probably
No, yeah. I've never met like a Magic player in the short amount, or the little encounters I've had. I've never met a Magic player that was like an asshole personally.
Yeah,
I mean, you might have because you play a lot more, but like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
in a lot of my casual encounters, like a couple pre-releases,
Yeah.
words are hard.
some of my least favorite people I've ever met were Magic players, but also my favorite people are usually Magic players. So
it's a nice. It's a
it's a give and take.
Just like all people.
Yeah, it's like any other demographic. Like, you know, my prejudice is unwarranted.
Exactly.
You're
But
prejudiced?
it probably will keep you alive to stay away from the Magic players.
Yeah, like we said in the last episode, Magic players around children is probably unsafe. But congratulations, Jimmy Wong.
Congrats.
Well, you think even if it's like nothing nefarious, Magic players will scam children out of their cards.
That was a...
Have I ever told the Baby Shaker story on the podcast?
No.
So one time, me and my friend Reed did a two-headed giant at, I think it was the War of the Spark pre-release. And there was this young couple there. And they had their, looked like maybe 1 or 2 year old child with them. And the father was trying to play in the pre-release with some friend of his. And then the mother was there next to him. And they had their child with. And, you know, it's like a child. It doesn't want to be there. Doesn't want to be at the Magic store.
1-year-olds can't consent to magic, is what you're saying.
And it's like, it's having a terrible time, clearly, and like crying and stuff. And the mom just like keeps turning to her baby and being like, "Quit your shit. Quit crying." Like, she literally said, "Quit your shit."
This happened?
to an infant.
Holy hell.
And was like shaking
was
it,
there.
trying to like get this child to stop. And we were just like, do we like call the police or something? Like, goddamn, like.
And if the police take this woman away, do we get a free win?
Yeah, what's the boogie video with him flip the table? The guy at the end when he flips tables. So I win, right? Classic.
Well, yeah,
That's
Magic players.
fucked up. That's crazy.
It was a very stressful situation.
Yeah, I've never had that kind of encounter. So
That's probably the
cool.
worst I've ever seen from a Magic player. But at my
Well,
old,
she might not be a Magic player.
In terms of like
she might not.
The baby might be a Magic player though.
Oh yeah.
now,
Future Magic player. Oh no.
God, no.
what is that supposed to
Well, I
mean?
mean, after the shaking, probably.
Yeah. No.
Are you trying to say something about Magic players?
No.
As
Hey,
a Magic player yourself?
I also know some of the smartest people I know are also Magic players.
Yeah. Lots of PhDs, Magic players. Love those guys.
Well, my nemesis Scott Steele,
Does he have a PhD?
my arch rival Charlie Good,
Does he have a PhD?
No.
probably. No, maybe not.
PhD in
No.
whoop ass.
No.
Sorry, that's
I
so
was,
not a
stupid.
I was trying to
not
think
a
of a
PhD.
really bad acronym for PhD, like Pornhub something, but I couldn't.
Pornhub download. I don't know, man. Something stupid.
Just like
Nice.
running out of brain power at some point.
This is what happens when you record an episode for an hour and a half.
Oh man. Well,
Is there any other good drama?
this was fun.
No. There's no
No?
good drama.
Garrett, you got anything to plug?
No, I specifically to pull the curtain back. I specifically said that I didn't want to have anything linked because I don't have anything. I don't produce content. I don't like when you brought on like Quinn. It was like, oh, he has a
He's a
Twitch
Twitch
channel.
stream.
He's like a affiliate or
Can I
whatever.
link your phone number?
No,
Description.
no.
Link your social security number.
Should we just link Solus Midwest?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Go ahead, yeah. Link all your prior guests that have any sort of like meaningful thing, which I assume is just
Check out Commander Replay on YouTube.com.
Oh yeah, we want you to subscribe to PJ's new channel, Moments in Music, because it's not right for us to have more subscribers than any YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So it's not just.
Go subscribe to Mitch at the Commander's Quarters.
Go give him a follow.
Subscribe to Mitch, and then
maybe Pleasant
mass
Kenobi.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and then unsubscribe. So because that happens to us, and you know how that makes you feel? It makes you feel bad when you see the number go up, the number go down.
We get stuck in little like it's kind of like my weight loss. Like it's a kind of limbo. It just stays around like the same area no matter what I do.
But we appreciate everyone for listening. This was a bit of a non-standard episode of I keep trying to say the Command Zone, man. It's the Jack Daniels.
You don't play standard. You play Commander. It's EDH takes. It's not standard.
It is non-standard, like by definition.
But this was a fun episode. Maybe we'll revisit this structure in
just
the future,
more
probably.
drama at some point.
But also,
because I had fun.
We'll have more of the other episodes coming as well.
And really, like, what is this for other than our own personal enjoyment?
Yeah. If there's anything that the oh my god, if
the Command Zone
EDH takes,
if there's anything that the Command Zone stands for,
if there's anything EDH stands for, it's EDH takes stands for. It's us making ourselves happy.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. You got to love it.
I've seen your guys' mental health go down a lot this last year.
Well, that's behind the curtain. You guys, all you fans out there. You got to look out for yourselves and do what makes you happy.
Yeah, and we appreciate everyone who, like, we say a lot of memes and stuff, but I really do appreciate everyone who listens, everyone who leaves a comment, likes the video. If you genuinely enjoy listening to this, I mean, get yourself checked out, but appreciate you. No, you're fine. You're a good person.
You can actually just show your doctor that you're subscribed to EDH Takes, and he knows right away.
It's a good way to get a prescription, right?
Yeah, if you want to get
some,
if you
drugs.
want something.
It's like, doctor, I listened to this Magic podcast where these two
nobodies from Nowheresville
pretend they have some notoriety. Very cool.
Pretend? You guys do.
Well,
we really are the Keemstars.
No, never.
Don't. I don't know about that.
No, I will never compare myself to Keemstar in good faith.
You're right. We don't have any ATVs.
I have a quote to end the podcast.
All right, what you got?
From Mr. Ja Rule himself.
Okay.
A couple hours ago, actually about 12 hours ago. War is not the answer.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's what this whole episode was about.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the homies in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Don't die.
Maybe link Ja Rule's Twitter.
Okay.
No, Ja Rule doesn't.
I've been Elijah Samuelson.
I've existed as.
Thank you for joining us, Garrett.
Hello, huh? Can I not say my own name or?
No.
After this podcast, you're getting a beat down.
Spencer. That's me.
Okay.
Thank you all for listening. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, follow the Twitter account. Nobody does that part.
Ring that bell. Turn notifications on.
Our stats all the time. Show that only 40% of viewers are subscribed. Actually, that's not true. I'm pretty sure we get more. We have more subscribers than viewers.
Damn.
Come back within the next 2 weeks for another legit episode.
That might actually have a real topic next time.